The space station hung like a silver jewel above the swirling clouds of the blue and green exoplanet, spinning silently in orbit. Inside, a hum of activity filled the corridors. Humans, Vaylans, and other alien species moved through the halls, exchanging greetings and gestures that had taken months to learn. The station was a symbol of hope, a place where beings from across the galaxy could meet, learn, and work together. Commander Aiden Cross walked down the wide corridor, his polished boots clicking against the metal floor. He was a tall man by human standards, but compared to some of the towering alien species present, he appeared almost average. His dark eyes scanned the room as he adjusted the communicator on his chest. Today was special. The Vaylans, a small, delicate species with luminous skin and large, round eyes, were visiting the station's human research wing for the first time. At the center of the room, Lyra, a young Vaylan girl, clutched the edges of her chair. She had traveled light years to reach the station, and her wide eyes took in everything: the metallic walls, the bright lights, and the strange shapes of human machinery. Her skin shimmered slightly, reflecting the overhead lights as she tilted her head, curious and cautious. "Commander Cross," one of the scientists said, stepping forward. "The Vaylans are ready for the demonstration." Aiden nodded. "Excellent, let's show them what humans can do." The demonstration was simple in idea but impressive in effect. Humans, despite appearing physically ordinary compared to some alien species, had remarkable strength and adaptability. Today, they were going to demonstrate how humans moved, lifted objects, and handled technology. Lyra leaned forward as a human volunteer lifted a massive crate with apparent ease. Her small hands tightened in surprise. How can he do that?" she whispered to herself. Aiden noticed her reaction and smiled gently. "It can be surprising," he said. "Humans are strong, yes, but strength is only part of what we do. We rely on clever thinking and teamwork too." Lyra's large eyes followed him as he walked to a zero-gravity demonstration area. In this part of the station, gravity could be adjusted to simulate different planetary environments. Today, the gravity was lowered slightly, allowing humans and aliens to perform movements that would otherwise be impossible. One by one, humans floated into the chamber, moving in fluid arcs. They demonstrated lifting tools, solving mechanical puzzles, and working together to assemble complex structures. The Vaylans watched in awe. Lyra tilted her head, her antennae twitching as she tried to understand the scale and coordination of human bodies. Then it happened. A human man, a young officer, moved toward a structure too heavy for a single Vaylan to lift. With careful precision, he lifted it and positioned it correctly. Lyra's mouth fell open. Her voice, high and musical, rang out across the chamber. "Human, it's too big." The room went quiet. All eyes turned toward the small Vaylan girl. Some humans chuckled nervously. A few Vaylans glanced at each other, unsure how to respond. Lyra's expression was not one of fear, but of pure astonishment. She had never imagined beings so large and capable. Aiden approached her slowly, kneeling to her level. "It may seem surprising," he said kindly. "Humans are different, yes, but size is not all that matters. We think, we plan, we learn from each other. That is how we achieve things." Lyra blinked, her antennae slowly lowering as she considered his words. "But so big, so strong," she murmured. "Yes," Aiden replied. "And that's why we can help others and solve problems together." The rest of the demonstration continued, but Lyra's curiosity had deepened. She asked questions about human biology, their daily routines, and how they trained for strength and endurance. Each answer fascinated her more. Humans were not only strong but adaptable. They could survive harsh planets, learn new skills quickly, and think in ways that surprised even the most advanced alien minds. During a short break, Aiden noticed Lyra standing alone near the observation window, staring out at the swirling clouds of the planet below. "Beautiful, isn't it?" he asked. Lyra nodded. "Yes, but even more humans, stronger than we imagined." Aiden smiled. "Strength is only one part. Humans can be stubborn, clever, and brave. That combination lets us do things others cannot." Lyra's eyes sparkled with determination. She had always been curious, but now her curiosity had a new focus. She wanted to understand humans, not just their size, but their minds, their courage, and their creativity. The session continued with interactive exercises. Humans demonstrated lifting and moving objects in teams. Lyra tried to mimic them with her small Vaylan frame. She could lift little pieces, but compared to humans, her attempts were tiny. Still, she smiled, learning quickly and asking for tips. "Balance, Lyra," Aiden advised. "Use your strength with your mind. Humans often succeed because we plan carefully, not just because we are big." Lyra nodded, absorbing every word. Her initial shock, expressed in that famous exclamation, had shifted into awe and curiosity. The humans around her were not just big, they were problem solvers, innovators, and helpers. As the session ended, the humans gathered the Valans for a final demonstration, assembling a complex communication device in zero gravity. Humans and Valans worked side by side. Lyra moved quickly, coordinating with the humans, learning from their instructions. She laughed when a crate nearly floated into her, catching it with careful precision. "That's amazing," she whispered. "Humans amazing." Aiden patted her on the shoulder gently. "And you, Lyra, are learning fast. That is what matters most: curiosity, teamwork, and a willingness to try." When the day ended, Lyra returned to her quarters aboard the station, still thinking about what she had seen. Humans were larger than her species, yes, but more than that, they were resilient, clever, and inspiring. She could feel her mind buzzing with questions, ideas, and dreams. Later that evening, Aiden reviewed the day's recordings and notes. He smiled as he saw Lyra's wide-eyed amazement. Humanity had made its first strong impression on a young Valan, not through force, but through intelligence, creativity, and kindness. That was the essence of HFY, humanity's ability to inspire, uplift, and cooperate across the galaxy. As the stars glimmered outside the station's windows, Lyra whispered to herself, "I want to see more. I want to learn more. Humans, too big, yes, but perfect in their way." And somewhere in the quiet hum of the station, Aiden knew that this was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, full of challenges and discoveries. But if humans could inspire awe in a young alien girl in just one day, then the possibilities for friendship, exploration, and progress were limitless. The next mission was already forming in the minds of both humans and Valans. Lyra would be part of it, and she would see firsthand why humans were more than just physically impressive. They were leaders, thinkers, and pioneers in a galaxy that had never seen such creatures before. Her exclamation, "Human, it's too big," had started as surprise. By nightfall, it had transformed into admiration and respect. And so, the first chapter of interstellar friendship and HFY adventure came to a close, leaving a spark of curiosity in a small Valan girl that would grow into a lifetime of discovery. The exoplanet below the station stretched wide and wild, a mix of rocky mountains, dense forests, and glimmering lakes. It was a planet full of life and mystery, waiting to be explored. Lyra's heart raced as she prepared for the first field mission with humans. She had spent days watching them in the station, learning about their strength, their intelligence, and their strange, creative ways. Now she would see them in action, outside the safety of the station, in real danger. Commander Aiden Cross led the group, his calm presence reassuring the mixed crew of humans and aliens. He carried a small tablet, scanning the terrain ahead. Lyra walked beside him, careful not to fall behind. Her Valan legs were shorter and the rugged planet's surface was uneven, but she moved with determination. Every step reminded her how different humans were: tall, strong, and fast. Yet she also saw their careful planning. "Stay close," Aiden said. "The terrain can be tricky and we don't want anyone getting lost." Lyra nodded, her large eyes following a human volunteer lifting a heavy crate of supplies effortlessly. Even in low gravity, it seemed easy for him. She tried to imitate his technique with a smaller pack, and although she struggled, she smiled. She was learning, and learning quickly. The mission was simple in explanation: collect rare mineral samples from an old alien research station on the planet. But the environment was unpredictable. Jagged rocks jutted from the ground, strong winds whipped across the plains, and in the distance, the rumble of a distant storm reminded everyone that the planet was alive and powerful. Lyra watched as humans and aliens worked together. Humans lifted debris-blocking paths, adjusted heavy equipment, and coordinated movements with precision. Even when a log fell unexpectedly, a human caught it mid-fall, saving a smaller alien who had been nearby. Lyra's jaw dropped. They think fast, react fast, amazing," she whispered to herself. Aiden noticed her awe. "Humans are strong, yes," he said, "but strength is not just muscle. Look at how we think, plan, and act together. That is what makes humans special." Lyra nodded, her curiosity growing with every moment. She had expected humans to be physically impressive. She had not expected them to be so quick in mind, so clever, so capable under pressure. Hours passed, and the team approached the abandoned station. Its walls were cracked, and strange plants had begun to overtake parts of the structure. Some equipment still hummed faintly with alien technology, while others had broken long ago. The humans moved with care, examining the station before entering. "Lyra," Aiden said, "observe first, take notes mentally, do not rush. Understanding comes before action." She nodded and followed his advice. She saw humans analyzing equipment, adjusting alien tools, and making careful measurements. One human, a young engineer, lifted a massive console and positioned it perfectly against a wall. Lyra's mouth fell open again. "Human, still too big," she murmured, but this time her voice carried admiration rather than shock. Inside the station, the team faced a more difficult challenge. The floor had collapsed in places, leaving gaps that could trap the unwary. Strange creatures, small, harmless, but curious, scurried around. Lyra's instincts told her to panic, but the humans stayed calm. They helped each other cross gaps, creating makeshift bridges from crates and tools. "See," Aiden said, helping a small alien across a gap. "Humans solve problems, not just face them. That is why we succeed." Lyra watched closely. When a human fell slightly from a ledge, others grabbed him instantly. No hesitation, no fear, just teamwork and quick thinking. It was nothing she had experienced before. Her species relied on caution and avoidance. Humans relied on courage and action. Hours later, the team reached the mineral vault, a large chamber with shining crystals embedded in the walls. Lyra's eyes widened. The crystals glowed faintly, pulsating with energy. "Beautiful," she whispered. But she noticed the humans didn't just stare. They began analyzing, testing, and figuring out how to safely extract the crystals. Lyra tried to help, but she struggled to move the heavier pieces. Aiden noticed and stepped forward. "Use your mind first," he advised. "Think of angles, leverage, and timing. Humans use their brains as much as their strength." Following his advice, Lyra shifted a crystal using a small lever, amazed at how thinking carefully made her much more capable. She smiled. "I understand now." Humans, brains, and strength together, perfect. As the team collected the crystals, an unexpected danger appeared. A section of the ceiling trembled and began to collapse. Smaller aliens panicked, but the humans stayed composed. They quickly organized everyone, holding fallen beams and guiding aliens to safety. Lyra's heart pounded, but she copied their actions, helping guide a frightened Veylan child out of danger. Aiden shouted instructions, calm but commanding. "Move slowly, watch your footing." Together, the humans' courage, quick thinking, and physical capability saved the day. Lyra felt her admiration deepen. These beings, larger and stronger than her species, combined power with intellect and care. They were more than just impressive, they were heroes in action. After the immediate danger passed, the team paused to rest. Lyra sat down on a rock, catching her breath. "Humans, incredible," she said softly. "Not just big, smart, brave." Aiden knelt beside her. "That is what humans can be when we work together." Strength is useful, but wisdom, courage, and teamwork are what truly make humans great. Lyra nodded slowly. She realized that humans were not perfect, far from it, but their combination of intelligence, bravery, and physical ability allowed them to accomplish things others could not. In that moment, she felt a deep respect for them. The journey back to the station was quieter. Lyra walked beside humans, observing every movement, every method of problem-solving. She asked questions about their techniques, their training, and how they learned to think under pressure. Each answer fascinated her more. By the time the station came into view, the sun was setting over the exoplanet, casting long shadows across the landscape. Lyra looked out the window, her mind racing with new ideas. Humans had proven themselves, not just through strength, but through creativity, courage, and leadership. Back aboard the station, the team gathered to debrief. Humans explained the challenges they had faced and how they had solved them. Lyra asked questions, eager to understand every detail. Her admiration had turned into determination. She wanted to learn from humans, to incorporate their methods into her own life and her species' future. Aiden smiled as he watched her. "You are learning quickly, Lyra. That curiosity, combined with your talent, will make you a great explorer and collaborator." Lyra's antennae twitched with excitement. "I want to see more. I want to learn like humans." The day ended with laughter and discussion. Humans and Veylans shared stories of their experiences, teaching each other small tricks and ideas. The bond between the species grew stronger. Lyra realized that humans were more than just physically impressive. They were inspirational, capable, and willing to work for the good of others. As she lay in her quarters that night, Lyra thought back on the day. She remembered the crates lifted effortlessly, the fallen beams held up with courage, and the clever solutions humans had created. She whispered to herself, human, still too big but perfect in their way. And in that quiet moment she made a silent promise. She would learn, explore, and grow. She would not only admire humans, she would follow their example, combining courage, intelligence, and strength in her own way. The galaxy was vast and full of unknown challenges. But after today, Lyra knew that humans were the kind of beings worth studying, worth learning from, and worth trusting. She could see why the Vailans and other species had agreed to work with them. Humans were not just survivors, they were pioneers. And somewhere in the hum of the space station, Aiden Cross noted with satisfaction that the spark of curiosity in a young alien girl had now grown into a fire. Humans had proven themselves again, not through conquest or aggression, but through bravery, cleverness, and teamwork. That was the essence of HFY, and the galaxy was beginning to see it clearly. Lyra fell asleep that night with dreams of future missions, imagining herself side by side with humans, exploring new worlds, solving challenges, and proving that the galaxy could be a place of friendship and discovery. Her exclamation from before, "Human, it's too big," had transformed completely. Now it was a quiet mantra in her mind, a reminder of what humans could do and what she aspired to become. The adventure was far from over, and the galaxy still held surprises. But Lyra understood one truth clearly. Humans were extraordinary, and she was lucky to witness it firsthand. The space station glimmered like a jewel against the black backdrop of space. Lyra walked through the corridors with a newfound confidence. Today was different from the previous missions. Today, she was no longer just an observer, she was an active participant. Her experiences on the exoplanet had changed her. Humans were no longer just too big. They were teachers, problem solvers, and companions. Commander Aiden Cross met her at the entrance to the laboratory. His smile was calm, but there was a spark of pride in his eyes. "Lyra, are you ready for today's project?" he asked. Lyra nodded eagerly. "Yes, I want to help like humans." The project was ambitious. The station had discovered a nearby moon with unstable terrain and strange energy readings. Humans and Vailans would work together to stabilize a small research outpost there and investigate the source of the energy. For Lyra, it was a chance to put everything she had learned into practice. The shuttle ride to the moon was smooth, and Lyra watched as the planet below gradually receded into darkness. She marveled at the humans piloting the shuttle, noting how they combined skill with intuition. "Even flying, humans are amazing," she whispered to herself. Upon landing, the crew stepped onto the rocky surface. The moon's ground was uneven, dotted with deep craters and jagged rocks. Strange, luminous crystals projected soft glows, illuminating the path ahead. Lyra followed the humans closely. She had learned to move carefully, balancing her small frame with the lessons she had gained about planning and observation. The first challenge appeared immediately. A section of the outpost's walls had collapsed, blocking access to vital equipment. Some Vailans hesitated, unsure how to move the heavy debris. Lyra took a deep breath and remembered Commander Cross's words, "Think first, act second, work together." She watched the humans for guidance. One lifted a massive wall fragment with ease, another coordinated a lever system to shift debris safely. Lyra analyzed the setup and suggested a small adjustment. "If we move this lever here, it will shift faster," she said. The humans looked at her, surprised but impressed. They made the adjustment and the wall moved smoothly. "Excellent thinking, Lyra," Aiden said. "You are learning well. Humans are not just big, they think creatively and act wisely. You have done the same." Lyra's antennae twitched with excitement. For the first time, she felt equal to the humans in problem-solving, even if her strength was smaller. She was learning to combine intellect with action, just like they did. The crew continued toward the energy source, navigating dangerous terrain. A sudden tremor shook the ground, sending small rocks tumbling. Panic rippled through some of the alien crew members, but humans reacted quickly. They formed protective chains, guiding everyone safely past the unstable zone. Lyra followed their lead, holding the hand of a smaller Vaelan child and calming her with soft words. When they reached the energy site, they discovered a crystalline formation unlike any Lyra had seen. The crystals emitted waves of energy that interfered with equipment, but humans quickly adapted, using shields, scanning devices, and clever techniques to study the phenomenon safely. Lyra helped analyze the readings, applying the methods she had observed in humans. "You're doing very well," Aiden said, nodding at her. "You are using observation, analysis, and action, all the things that make humans effective." Lyra smiled. She realized that humans were remarkable not because of their size alone, but because they combined strength, intelligence, and courage to achieve extraordinary things. As the day progressed, the crew faced several challenges. Rocks fell unexpectedly, crystals emitted unpredictable energy bursts, and small alien creatures curiously interfered with the experiments. Yet humans remained composed, adapting to each problem. Lyra assisted wherever she could, learning and contributing. She felt pride swelling within her, not just in herself, but in humans as well. During a brief rest period, Lyra spoke to Aiden. "Humans, amazing, strong, smart, brave. I want to learn everything." Aiden smiled gently. "That is the spirit, and you are learning quickly. One day you will teach others, too. That is what makes collaboration between species so important." By evening, the outpost was stable, and the energy source had been mapped. The team returned to the shuttle, tired but satisfied. Humans had demonstrated not just strength, but courage, intelligence, and leadership. Lyra felt a deep respect for them. They were more than explorers, they were pioneers. Back on the station, a celebration was held. Humans and Valans shared food, stories, and experiences. Lyra laughed with new friends, recalling moments from the mission. Her initial exclamation, "Human, it's too big," had become a playful joke among the crews, a symbol of wonder and admiration. During the celebration, Aiden raised a toast. "Today, we have worked together. We have faced challenges, solved problems, and learned from each other. Humanity is not defined by size alone, but by courage, intelligence, and the will to do good." Lyra raised her glass, her eyes shining. "Humans inspiring, I learn, follow," she said proudly. The room cheered. Over the next few weeks, Lyra continued training and working with humans. She learned their techniques, their strategies, and their ways of thinking. She practiced lifting, balancing, and problem-solving. Slowly, she combined her own Valan agility with human methods, creating a hybrid style that was both clever and effective. She began to teach other young Valans what she had learned, showing them that humans were not just physically strong. They were innovators, collaborators, and leaders. The lessons spread, creating a new wave of cooperation between species. One evening, as Lyra stood by the observation window, watching the stars glitter across space, she reflected on her journey. Humans had started as a curiosity, then became a challenge, and finally became a source of inspiration. She realized that strength alone was meaningless without wisdom, courage, and cooperation. Humans embodied all of these qualities. Commander Cross approached her quietly. "You've grown a lot, Lyra," he said. "You see what humans can do, and you are beginning to apply it yourself." Lyra smiled. "Yes, humans, too big, yes, but perfect in their own way. I want to be like that, brave, smart, helpful." Aiden nodded. "That is HFY, the best of humanity, recognized and respected across the galaxy. And now you carry that spirit forward." The galaxy was vast, full of planets, challenges, and mysteries. But Lyra knew one truth clearly: humans were extraordinary. Not just because of their size, but because of their heart, mind, and courage. As the station's lights dimmed for the night, Lyra whispered to herself, "Human, too big, yes, but amazing, inspiring, and I will learn." And in that quiet, small moment, the foundation of a new alliance was born. Humans and Valans would explore the galaxy together, combining strength and agility, courage and intelligence. Together, they would face challenges, solve mysteries, and prove that cooperation and respect between species could create something extraordinary. The exclamation that once expressed shock had transformed into admiration, respect, and determination. Lyra had seen humans at their best, and she was ready to follow their example. In the endless stars above, humanity shone not just as a species, but as an idea. Bravery, wisdom, and teamwork were its true strength. And across the galaxy, those who witnessed humans at work would come to understand the simple, powerful truth: humans were remarkable.